everything about LeBron, I was like, he reminds me of myself. So like, I really related to that. You see what I'm saying? So I see his point right here. Cause like me and LeBron basically like this. It's not too much different that he got that I don't got. You feel what I'm saying? We both tall, black, successful men. You feel what I'm saying? That's me.
All right, chat. Let's go meet for meat in chat, bro.
Big boy, whoa, why are you talking to me like that?
Welcome back to the live channel, man. Today we got meat, we got chat, and we will be reacting to a video from the one, the only, the homie. Elephants in a room. Why do black athletes dominate like everything? Like, why are like black people like the GOAT? Like, why is black people like really like that? Like, why do black people look sexy? Why are they able to cook phenomenally? Why can they jump the highest, run the fastest, and pick like the most content? And that's what we're about to get into today. Let's go. No, yeah.
It was 1980. Jimmy Carter was the president of the United States. Brezhnev was the leader of the Soviet Union, which hosted the Olympics. And it marked a milestone there. It was the last time a white guy won the 100-meter dash. But it was more than that. It was the last time any white man in the world even qualified for the finals.
Damn.
And that was 44 years ago. Looking at a lot of sports, black athletes do incredibly well.
That is crazy.
Field, basketball, and American football. So why? Why do black people seem to dominate sports? And is that belief really accurate?
Okay.
Hey, I'm Ken LaCorte.
Okay.
My goal is to give you an honest look here. It's not about declaring any race superior or inferior, but about what differences exist by race in sports and why. First, we'll look at whether black athletes actually do dominate sports. Then we'll check out the cultural differences at play and also look into the genetic differences.
Bro, it's crazy because the newest black athlete that I'm happy to see that I hear is taking over is something Zeppelin or Ned Zeppelin or something Zeppelin. He's a black guy who snowboards and he's tough. You feel what I'm saying, bro? We finna wipe the whole board, bro. I think we got cricket left. Don't let us touch pickleball. Tiger Wolf been having golfing on lock, in my mind. You feel what I'm saying? And like, I think Babe Ruth still the GOAT in baseball, but and like Shohei Ohtani or you know what I'm saying? But black people, we could get that in a couple more years, all that. But like, you feel what I'm saying? Zeb Powell. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. In a few more years, due time, bro, we really gonna run up every sport, bro. No. I'm saying Babe Ruth is white. We haven't gotten like the baseball title yet.
Examining what the science actually says and doesn't say about racial variations in athletic ability.
Okay.
Now let's look at the numbers that make some people uncomfortable. Are black people really better at sports? The answer is kind of, but it depends on the sports. When we look at professional sports, it's hard to ignore some obvious patterns. About 3/4 of NBA players are black, and that's in a country where black people make up about 13% of the population. In the NFL, almost 2/3 of the players are black, but in this case, the demographics change when we look at certain positions. Cornerbacks and running backs are overwhelmingly black, while quarterbacks and kickers have historically been mostly white. Especially those from Kenya and Ethiopia have completely crushed marathons for decades. With only two exceptions,
I'll stop.
In the last 33 years, the Boston Marathon
has
always been won by an East African man. But flip to swimming, and you get a completely different picture. At the
Hey! I ain't gonna lie, y'all got us in swimming. Hey! I ain't gonna lie, Hey! I ain't gonna lie, they got us in swimming. I ain't gonna lie, chat. I'ma celebrate when celebration is due. They got us in swimming. I ain't even gonna sit here and cap, bro. I don't think we nowhere near close, twin.
2016 Rio Olympics, 45 of the 50 finalists in men's and women's 100-meter freestyle events were white. Black Americans are also underrepresented in sports like tennis, golf, field hockey, archery, softball, and soccer. Blacks make up only 5% of professional hockey players, and the U.S. Figure Skating Association reported in 2022 that 73% of its...
This one black guy at my high school got a six-pack, a 16-inch vertical, a 12, nigga, a freak. Yeah, no, see, yeah. He's destined to make it out, bro.
Members were white, 2% were black, and 18% were Asian. Speaking of Asian,
I forgot about my point. Yo, turn them off for this. I'm failing.
Mao declared it the national sport.
I'll eat the sit-ups.
So it seems pretty clear that different races excel in different sports and play different sports to begin with. Women's gymnastics has historically been the domain of white and Eastern European athletes, but Simone Biles is likely the greatest gymnast ever.
Facts.
And the demographics of that sport are shifting.
I don't even think don't even say likely. I think we could just say is. Like, I'm pretty sure we could just say Simone Biles is the greatest professional gymnast ever. If I'm not wrong, if I'm not mistaken.
Some other sports. Okay, so that's some of the racial patterns in sports. Now let's dig into why they exist at all.
Okay.
One of the first things to look at is the cultural factors that shape the racial landscape of sports.
Right.
It's not as simple as like they're naturally good at it. So in the 1940s, black baseball players were forced into a separate league. When that changed, we saw the depth of talent that had been sidelined. Integration reshaped the entire sports landscape, and as certain sports became more accessible to minorities, they became cultural touchstones. Basketball became a beacon of hope in many black communities.
Facts. Man, what? I thought basketball was gonna be my only way out. I ain't gonna lie, chat. I thought it was this or nothing. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I thought basketball was gonna be the only way that I ever see the other side. I learned very quickly that it was not the only way. If that was my only way to I was gonna be in the gutters, the trenches my whole life. I ain't gonna lie, bro. But yeah, no. We got mad opportunities. It's not only hoop or bust. It's not even only stardom or bust. Like, most niggas can make a lot of money being the number 3, the number 2, the number 5 at like a company, at like a startup, at like their job and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Don't get stuck thinking that you have to play the star role, because usually the people who chase the star roles don't even make the most money, dead ass. Like, there's so much opportunity nowadays, bro.
Needed to get better was a court. Easy to find even in crowded cities, and you needed a ball too. The game doesn't require any expensive equipment or large fields in order to play.
Right.
And then there's the potential income. For many kids growing up in poor neighborhoods, sports aren't just a pastime. They're a potential ticket out of poverty. Now, when you're surrounded by economic hardship, that NBA or NFL contract is a lifesaver. And the economic incentives aren't just about the players either. Entire communities rally around local athletes who look like they might be headed to the big leagues.
That's
a successful athlete is not only a source of pride, but also investment for a hometown. So it's clear that in some communities, certain sports are woven into the very fabric of daily life. Think about how deeply ingrained soccer is in Latin American countries.
Right.
And this cultural emphasis creates a feedback loop. The more a community values a sport, the more kids play it.
Right.
The more kids play it, the better they get. And the better they get, the more the community values it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that can shape generations of athletes. There's also power in seeing someone who looks like you succeed. Role models can be game changers.
That's a fact, because like, I really saw myself in LeBron. Like, sometimes I could, like, the way that LeBron moves and like the way he get to some money, you feel what I'm saying? The way he like, just like really everything about himself, his stature, his beard, like I had the beard, like everything about LeBron, I was like, he reminds me of myself. So like, I really related to that. You see what I'm saying? So I see his point right here, because like me and LeBron basically like this. It's not too much different that he got that I don't got. You feel what I'm saying? We both tall, black, successful men. You feel what I'm saying? That's me. Yeah.
You see heroes who look like you winning games and earning big, you're more likely to be able to see yourself in that role. I mean, sometimes we all need someone to show what's possible. Inspiration is a powerful tool. So when Simone Biles emerged as a gymnastics powerhouse, the number of black girls who began starting that sport shot up.
Right.
But this effect also can be complicated, because when Tiger Woods burst out onto the golf scene, there was an initial surge of interest in golf among ethnic minorities. But since then, the numbers have dropped off, likely due to the expense of the sport and the lack of infrastructure to let kids in underprivileged communities play it more easily.
It's why you won't ever see a good amount of like black people, African American people, however you want to slice it, in like F1. Like, I might be wrong because I haven't done my research on F1, but there's not that much of black people tied into the F1 community, just because the price of F1 is insane. Like, if y'all ever seen the prices, if you ever see the prices on F1, you're like, how does anybody start this passion without coming from wealth? Like, there doesn't seem like an actual route to do it. Once again, this is me coming from like a place of not knowing much about F1, so I'm not even gonna lie. Like, there might be other ways to do it, but I don't know.
Now let's look at snow
The
skiing.
best is black.
sport
Look up Lewis
dominated by
Hamilton. No, black people got F1. We got F1. We took racing from these niggas. Oh my god. No, Black History Month is over. I should have watched this video in February. Oh my gosh, bro. We're goated, bro.
Professional and Olympic level, it's overwhelmingly won by athletes from nations with more wealth and more snow. In these
Right.
countries, skiing is deeply ingrained with the culture, with youth
Get
development
premium
programs and easy
broke-ass
access to
nigga.
facilities. Still, however you look
My
at
fault,
it,
bro. The
it's expensive.
the Twitch check
equipment,
hasn't hit
training,
yet,
and
bro.
access to slopes means athletes
Twitch check
often
hasn't
need
hit, bro.
substantial financial backing from their families or communities to reach the elite level. Ski resorts and facilities are often located far from urban centers where minority populations tend to be concentrated in the United States. But we can't blame everything on money. Norwegians dominate Olympic sports like cross-country skiing and speed skating, and they can do those things right out their front door. Families cross-country ski and skate together, and kids start as soon as they can walk. It's ingrained into their culture. And that feeds back to the role models. A lack of diversity in skiing and winter sports makes it harder for minority youth to see themselves playing that game. Just as some sports get an entire community rallying behind them, others spark no interest in regions that haven't traditionally played them. And it's not just winter sports or expensive ones. Other fields that don't see much diversity are tennis and lacrosse,
Right.
archery, softball, soccer. It's an intertwined mix of
There's a basketball court that I go up to around here, and like I get looked at like an animal in an exhibit when I play basketball next to this tennis court. It'll be a tennis court full of Caucasian people of all ages, moms, dads, children. And it'll literally only be me because like I'm around a pretty good neighborhood. And it'll only be me there playing basketball because apparently after a certain tax bracket, niggas just stop playing basketball, gang. And then I'll be there hooping and like could see people just looking at me weird, damn near wanting to pull their kids away. Like, come on, come over here, Timothy. Don't stand too close to the nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it makes me feel a kind of way. I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, I love it though, cause I get a whole court to hoop. I just throw some headphones on, I start hooping, and then it's fire. So you know it's tough.
and
I
economic
want to meet
forces
your
at play.
madre.
Okay,
Pay respects to
so given that,
your padre.
now let's look
mi
into the
amor.
most controversial part of the whole puzzle: genetics. This is where
Coco
things
Gauff
get really
is doing
interesting
well in tennis.
and
She hard.
usually a little bit
She
uncomfortable.
hard.
Now, it's good to be careful here. The argument that different races have
Okay.
different genetics can lead to some terrible beliefs and ideologies.
Right.
But it's also silly
talking
to
about
insist
medical
that there
stuff.
are no physical differences between people from around the world.
Right.
We should all be smart enough to look at that without getting too weird about it, but that's often not the case.
No, I like that Jimmy the Greek moment that happens in sports, Like once every 4 or 5 years,
What's
you
the
know,
title?
50, 55-year-old white
The
dude
title
tries
is,
to
why do
explain
black
why
athletes
people are kicking
dominate?
the shit out of white people in practically every major sport, And it always goes down the same way, right? And literally 20 minutes later, that dude's on TV, he's like fired, right? He's crying, his family's standing there, he's got like a box of shit from his desk with like an Emmy sticking out. He's like, I don't know what I said, I was just talking about the quick twitch and the slow twitch, and I wasn't just trying to make a point.
Anyhow, hey, this is a good time to let you know if I make any substantive mistake in
Because
this video,
black.
I'll fix it in the pinned comment below, assuming I'm not fired by sundown. Okay, so are there genetic differences between races that contribute to athletic performance? Yes, of course, but it's complicated. Overall, there's actually more genetic diversity within racial groups than between them. But that doesn't...
It would make sense that this exists, right? Like, I think one of the easiest versions to understand this is that, what was it? Is this community of people, I don't know if they're a tribe that's been contacted before or if they're an uncontacted tribe, but their lungs, because of how they get their food, which is mostly to the ocean, due to the ocean, and they have to dive for a lot of their food, they're like genetically just capable of holding their breath for like 8 minutes on end, just on average. That is like their average across their people. And that's just something that you're not finding in America off the kid who smokes like 4 vapes a day. You get what I'm saying? He hits the pen, he hits the vape. Like, he's not going to be able to hold his breath for 4 seconds, let alone 4 minutes, let alone 8 minutes. Those people have 2 drastic different advantages. And one of them is just due to the people he came from prior, who raised him, and where he's born. So like, yeah, I think it's easy to say, and I don't think it's wild to claim that the type of person you are, where you come from, etc., could give you certain advantages, disadvantages in whatever sport you choose to play. Like, I think that's reasonable.
mean there aren't genetic variations that cluster in certain populations. Scientists have noted that certain genetic traits help certain sports. For instance, many elite sprinters of West African descent have a higher proportion of fast twitch muscle fibers, which are crucial for explosive powers. These fibers contract quickly but tire more easily, making them ideal for short bursts of speed. On the flip side, East African runners, particularly from Kenya and Ethiopia, dominate long distance. Now, some researchers
know
say it
this
may
part.
be less about their muscle composition and more about their slim build and long legs relative to their height. That improves running efficiency. A 2010 study in the International Journal of Design and Nature proposed that black athletes have a 1.5% speed advantage in running because their center of mass is about 3% higher above the ground than white athletes. This supposedly allows them to fall forward more quickly between strides. Now, that sounds scientific, but a lot of other scientists are skeptical of such a cut and dry explanation. Another controversial idea among some scientists links the prevalence of sickle cell trait among people of West African origin to a higher percentage of fast twitch muscle fibers. But that hasn't seen a lot of solid evidence to back it up.
Right.
On the flip side, look at the relative lack of Asians in sprinting events. Some researchers say this is body proportions, suggesting that the
Damn, I never thought about that. Are Asians slow? Like, they're just slow as hell? I've never thought about it. I've really never seen an Asian man, woman, really running like that. Like, I really be just seeing, like, Sha'Carri Richardson and, like, Usain. And what's that one nigga who kind of sounds annoying now? I can't remember his name. But that's really all I be seeing, so they're right.
Generally have shorter limbs relative to their torso.
We still doing the pause thing? Yeah, I'm cooked, though.
Harder. But again, these are theories, and it's kind of hard to test exactly. And then finally, let's not forget the role of epigenetics. Epigenetics looks at how an athlete's body responds to training, recovers from injuries, and responds to different environmental conditions. It suggests that while genetics might give some individuals an edge, the way these genes are expressed can be influenced by factors like training and diet, even an athlete's mindset. This could partly explain why athletes from certain regions excel in certain sports.
Jay. Welcome in.
Not just be the genes, but how those genes interact with their environment and lifestyle.
Noah Lyles,
let's not forget that genes that help in a particular sport could be a disadvantage in another. The body type that's ideal for a marathon runner is very different from what you'd want for an offensive tackle. So it's clear to say that when you look at the research, there is no clear pat answer. The relationships are science, but they're really unsettled still. But still.
Nah, I really do wish we could get like a 30 for 30 though on LeBron's body, because I feel like LeBron's body is genuinely, and this is gonna sound like glazed, but I'm being so dead ass. I'm being so serious. LeBron's body is so perfect for the sport that he plays and for how long he's trying to play it and for how he's playing it and for how he chooses to maintain it. There needs to be some type of deep 3D scan with nanotech and holographics when it comes to like LeBron's body. Something in there is going right for him that's not going right for everybody else. Dead ass. I really wish we could really understand what's going on in there. No clap. Pause though.
There are some undeniable characteristics in the most elite athletes. Be trying to change the racial makeup of competitions. I mean, certainly making all sports financially accessible to all kids is a good goal.
Facts.
But if you just look at the colors of those who win or those who play, that makes things a lot more complicated. And sports is full of exceptions to every rule. It may be true that some races dominate certain sports, and that isn't necessarily a bad thing. Just a fact with some interesting reasons behind it. It's similar to what I found when I tried to figure out why Arab armies almost always seem to lose against Western powers. In fact, the last time an Arab regime won a major battle against the West was in 1187 AD. And, like in sports, the answers are complicated.
That was a crazy segue, I'm not gonna lie. Hey man, that was kind of fire, man. Appreciate you for telling me black people are elite. You feel me? February just ended, but I'll still just add this as Black History Month extended. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe down below. 3 reactions a day on this channel, 1 animation weekly on the other channel. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Goodbye. Peace. Sub up.